I have made a lot of different transactions in my portfolio over the past month, so today you'll discover my full investing portfolio update for the month of March of 2025. As always, we'll first begin by taking a look at what are the different individual companies and exchange trade funds that I have in my portfolio. Then we'll be jumping into the asset allocation, so the sectoral distribution of my assets, and we'll take a look after at the dividend that I've earned over the past month of February. And finally, we'll take a closer look at what are the different transactions that I've made over the past month. When we take a look at the technology sector in my portfolio, you can see that with no surprise, I continue to hold most of the big GAFAM, so companies such as Apple, Meta, Google, and Amazon. And I also hold a certain position in the Elon Musk company Tesla, which currently represents slightly over 6% of my total assets. And in total, concerning all of these companies, you can see that the gain and losses, so what is the unrealized profit that I've made on them, has been quite astonishing, where on certain positions, I'm currently up more than 100%, but it doesn't include all the profit that I've took over the past couple of months and years on these companies. In terms of the second sector, which is a quite crucial sector for our economy, which is the energy sector, you can find that I have two of the big Canadian energy companies, which are Enbridge and Pembina. In the case of Enbridge, you can see that I've recently repurchased more shares of it to earn the dividends on the ex-dividend date, where I currently have over 11% of my total assets invested in this company. And in the case of Pembina, you can see that I'm currently up close to 100% on the average price that I've paid for it. For the financial sector, you can see that I hold one of the big 5 Canadian banks in the form of the TD Bank. And I also hold a few shares of the Manulife company, which is one of the world's largest insurance companies. And talking about this company, what is pretty interesting about Manulife is the fact that I am registered to their DRIP program, meaning that I am able to reinvest all the dividends that I receive from them to buy new shares of this company. And this makes that at the moment, I currently have some unrealized profit of over 100% on this company. However, the scenario isn't the same when it comes to the communication company that I have in my portfolio, which is the telecom company TELUS. Indeed, this company has been struggling a lot financially lately, where we can see that I am currently down over 15% on the average price that I've paid for it. For the consumption company Couche-Tard that I currently hold in my portfolio, it hasn't been able to perform that well lately, but I'm still up about 30% on it. Now for the materials company that I have in my portfolio, which is the Canadian business Savaria, which is mainly focusing on the creation of great wheelchair and stairlift for older people. This company that is giving great monthly dividend income to their shareholders hasn't been able to perform that great lately, where I'm only up about 13% on the average price that I've paid for it. When it comes to the large position that I have in the real estate investment trust company Raucan, where I hold currently over 6% of my assets in it, you can notice that this company hasn't been fluctuating that much over the past couple of weeks and months, where I'm still up close to 40% on the average price that I've paid for it. Finally, for my super small stake in the 5 and Plus company, which represent less than 0.50% of my total assets, we can notice that I am currently up close to 24% of unrealized profit on this business, despite a slight decrease of their valuation lately. Now, when it comes to the exchange trade funds that I have in my portfolio, we can first find the Vanguard S&P 500 Index ETF with the ticker VFV, which is basically representing the 500 largest American companies by valuation, where you can see that I currently have invested over 11% of my total assets in it. And at the moment, I'm currently up over 41% on the average price that I've paid for this ETF. For my global stock market tracker, I've decided to invest into the iShares Core Equity ETF with the ticker XEQT. At the moment, I only have a small ponderation of only 3%, where I want to target a ponderation of about 10% in the near future. And at the moment, I currently have some unrealized profit slightly below 12%. For the ETF that will be tracking the Canadian market, I currently invest into the iShares S&P TSX ETF with the ticker XIU. At the moment, this investment only represents about 3% of my total assets, but in the near future, I want to increase this ponderation to at least 15% of my assets. And right now, I'm currently up close to 14% on the average price that I've purchased this ETF. Then I also have a few shares of the famous Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF with the ticker SCHD. On that side, you can see that I am currently up close to 18% on the average price that I've purchased this fund. Finally, for my liquidity reserve, I have decided to invest into the Global X High Interest Savings Account ETF with the ticker cash. At the moment, this liquidity reserve only represents about 6% of my assets, but in the near future, with all the uncertainty that we have on the market, I want to increase this ponderation into about 20% of my assets. So in total, it makes that my investing portfolio is worth slightly below $154,000, which actually represents some unrealized profit of over $47,000 or some unrealized gain of over 44%. In terms of the ETF section, you can find that this unrealized profit is accounting for about $17,000 or some gain of about 51%, where you can see that at the moment, my ETFs are currently worth about $50,000. So this makes that with no surprise, the two largest sectors in my portfolio are both the technology sector and the ETF sectors. Then we also find other important sectors such as the energy sectors and the financial sector. Then to finish my asset allocation, we can find other interesting sectors such as the real estate sector, the consumption sector, the material sector, as well as the communication sector. For this new section that I've just created this month for the dividend tracker, I'll be using this one just to track all the dividend income that I'll be able to generate over the next couple of months of 2025. And in the case of February, you can see that I've received multiple dividends from certain companies such as TD, Raucan, and Savaria, as well as the dividends from my liquidity reserve cash and from the ETF XIU. So in total, over the past month of February, I have generated about $218 of dividends. And for the different transactions that I've made over the past month of February, you can see that I've decided to bought and sold a bunch of different companies where I've decided to take a certain part of profit into Tesla, SHD, Meta, and VAV. And as I told you earlier, I've decided to reinvest a big portion of this income straight into Enbridge to basically be able to receive the next upcoming dividends that will be paid at the beginning of March. And I've also restarted to invest into my liquidity reserve in case that I need to pay any types of unexpected expenses, for example. But now on your side, if you're looking for the companies that are the most promising for the month of March of 2025, well, you can check out the video that's gonna be right over here, and I will see you soon. Peace.